and I heard this lady on the radio. She had a kids show, and I was only 5 years old. So we go to the hairdressers, and I hear her speak, and I jump, and I'm like, you have to record me, you have to record me, I want to come on your show. She called me, and she said, you know, this is a kids show. I want you to give a story that you've heard, maybe a fairy tale or something. And I made up a story, and I made up music to the story. I sang throughout the story, and I said, okay, they lived this girl who was taken by a monster, and the monster put her in a box, and every day he would call her name, and she would sing this song. Deep down, I always wanted to do music, and was afraid of music because it made me vulnerable, and I was very afraid of being vulnerable because I was raised in the military. I was raised by my dad. You have to be strong. Don't wear your emotions on your shoulders, or don't show, you know, you're strong, you're strong, you're strong. African woman, you're strong. So music scared me, and but I wanted to do it secretly. That's what I really wanted to do. And you know, people would tell me, my teachers in school would say, you should really sing. There's a bass guitar player called Guma Lokito.
Guma
Lokito. He's a legend in Africa. In fact, my mom's generation consider him, you know, when I tell people that I actually work with him, they don't believe it. Yeah. So he said to me, he said, you know, can you sing? And I said, yeah, I'd love to sing. He's like, he always pushed me to sing. And he's one of the elements. If you listen to Rudy, there's a very strong bass line. It's almost like, and that's what I dance to. The reason why I like bass is that's what I follow when I'm dancing to instruments. And Nguma plays bass like nobody I've ever heard before. I want him on every music release I have. And then 2006, somebody showed up in my life and completely like got all the emotions out. Somebody showed up and rocked my world, and it's one of those things where somebody shows up and you really click and then they disappear. It was very hard, and my business partner that I was working with before is like, come on, let's go to the studio, record this. And I'm like, no. And he's the one who introduced me to him. I'm like, no, I don't want to sing it. So it was very hard to sing. And I felt the emotion was there. It was so raw. And everybody started responding to it. Everybody started responding to my singing. I just had all these songs. I went to a studio, a production house, and I talked to this producer and I said, I have these songs that need to be recorded or I'm going to go crazy.
Okay.
Because it was every day. And it's like, okay, let me hear them. And I recorded all of them because I record them so I don't forget. When I wake up and I have the idea, I have to have it recorded. And I sang this stuff. He's like, where do you get these things from? Where'd you get these melodies from? I was in my sleep. And people could relate. You know, Rudy just means come back. Let's work it out. For years, you know, I was working towards a goal, and it was frustrating because you were always told, oh, you have to fit in this mold, and if you don't belong to this genre, then, you know, they don't know what to do with you. And most people didn't know what to do with me. You know, oh, okay, you're exotic looking, sometimes you can have a British accent, black girl, you know, so it was very frustrating for a lot of people to do that, even with musicians, like, oh, your music is not R&B, it's not soul, we don't know where to put you. There was this belief that for artists to be out there, or if you're trying to get into the industry, whether it's music or film, you have to be really mysterious and people don't get to know you. I don't believe in that whole belief system. I like interacting with people and being as real as possible. I think that's the only thing that I do that I can say accounts for all these friends on Facebook. To me, it's not really just because I want them to follow me and support what I'm doing. I think that being interactive and being very, very open to people and letting them know what you're doing and just no mystery is the way to go, you know. I actually have had a lot of people from my MySpace pages, Facebook, like, oh yeah, I got you. You know, the internet works for us. It works for indie artists.